It's a Mexican soccer show here, Food Max Nation. I'm Wiso, giving you 1 hour of Mexican soccer. We'll get to you right now. Let's just jump right in. I'm already 2 minutes late. We're going to go in and talk all about what's happening in Mexican soccer. We're going to say hello to Mr. Tom Marshall there in Guadalajara with the first question that is, Mr. Tata Martino is going to have his first press conference. Tom, it's going to be on Thursday in LA. And what's the first question that you want to ask him? How you doing, Tom?
Yo, how's it going, Gary? How's it going, Wiso? It's a difficult one because Tata's a bit. He's good. He's good at avoiding questions. I mean, the question that I'd really like to know, like, kind of, is in these this first month or however long it's been since he's been traveling around, going to all the training grounds, going to the games, like which players have caught his eye? Specifically the younger ones. Which ones have stood out to you? But he's not going to answer that, Tata. I mean, he's just not. He's been around the block too much, So I'd really like to know his thoughts on Salcedo's move to Tigres, because I think it's different from the Layun one to Monterrey, because Layun's obviously a little bit older. He's done it in Europe. I think he's reached his ceiling over there. Whereas Salcedo, I think he could have gone further. I mean, I think he's moving back to a, I don't know, he's taking a step down in terms of the standard of quality of football. And so from the manager's point of view, the Mexico manager's point of view, what does he feel about that? Because, Osorio would have hated it. I don't know. Osorio would have gone crazy, but what's Tata Martino how's he gonna deal with that? Because it must be a blow. So I've like potentially, your best defender, move from Europe, from a very good league back to Liga MX. It must be a blow to him, but yeah, that's what I'd ask anyway.
All right. Knowing that Tata Martino's gonna not answer the question, we'll go to Miss Cari Torres. You know her from the Our Football podcast there with Blue Black Nation, and is currently right now de la vida no vale nada. Actually, she's not necessarily in León, pero en Guanajuato. Cari, great to have you on the show. How's it going? And tell us what your first question. You have Mr. Tata Martino in front of you. What do you want to do and say hello?
Hey, Wiso. Hey, Tom. Via Guanajuato. Yes, from Mexico. I think this question I would ask him is, what is he going to base off his first call-up? Is he going to be more into, I think, bouncing from what Tom said, like maybe the youngsters that caught his attention? Is that what his, first call-up is going to be aimed for, knowing that maybe he already has, like, on his head, like, a couple of already established players, like, for La Selección that he knows are going to be there, but maybe, he has a couple other ideas. So just what is going to be his focus on his first call-up? Is it going to be the youngsters? Is he going to test out other players that caught his eye so far? I think kind of want to just get, because a lot of people are too quick to assume, like, oh my God, really? These are the players going to call up for Qatar. They'll immediately jump to like the most extreme. So kind of just like right now, what is he thinking? What is he needing more? So do we need a right back? Of course we need one. We don't have a legitimate right back. Defensive line is our most struggle with. So, kind of position here and here, like, what is he thinking so far? So it'd be interesting, that aspect. So.
All right. Lots of questions about who to bring in. Thank you, Cari and Tom. What everybody said here on Twitterverse. Soccer Never Sleeps says, what does this Mexican team have to do on the field and off to dominate CONCACAF? Do you believe players should be called up based on form for their club? Form, even if they don't convince for Mexico, or based on how well they can interpret your tactics on the pitch, but are subs for their clubs? That's from Kilo. And these are tough questions. Daniel brings it in. Says, how many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? So there we go. That's what we're looking for. Scott Bunting says, what's his philosophy? Going a mix of young and experienced, or slowly bringing half of the young players in? And are you bringing the A team for the Gold Cup this year? I think I can answer that. I think Tata Martino will bring them in. On the chat, if you haven't gotten a chance to get on the chat and talk to everybody right now, Mr. Carlos is there, Lou is there, Cristiano Rosendo is also there, and he's saying, do you regret signing with Mexico yet? Carlos already saying that comes in. Always good to have him out there. But interesting enough, yes, his first press conference coming up on Thursday. And I kind of with you, Tom. You want to ask him all these questions, but I feel he's going to be the king of just avoiding and giving you that very bland. I mean, if I could ask him any question, it'd be like, "What has Mexico done wrong up to this?" And I think he'll turn it around and say, "No, Mexico's done great things from what they were in the '70s and now in the '80s and '90s." So, because we know that they're not getting over that quinto partido, but that's what I would love to ask him because I'm sure he knows. He looks good, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a bit of a change in, the media relations as well with Tata coming in now. I mean, very much the last two Mexico managers, obviously Osorio and Miguel Herrera, last two permanent ones, they were willing to give interviews. They were willing to go to the States and spend a whole morning or more kind of sitting down with journalists up there, chatting to them, giving them interviews and explaining what their plans are and stuff like that. Whereas Tata Martino, we saw with Atlanta United as well. Tata is very reluctant to do that. I think he comes from more of the Bielsa school. He's not as kind of hardline as Bielsa is in terms of I'm never speaking to anyone. I only do it in press conferences. But he is, he's not going to be going out there giving everybody an interview. I mean, it's just a different way of working. I don't think he particularly likes talking to the press. He just likes working on the field and putting a team together.
I don't know, Tom. I feel like it's like every manager that comes into Mexico all of a sudden becomes like, you see him everywhere. I don't know if that's the money. I don't know if it's the contract that he's already signed, or specifically with the televisoras being a part of the national team and how it goes there, and the friends of the national team and exclusives of the national teams.
Let's not forget though that the FMF president now came straight from Televisa.
Yeah.
Let's I wouldn't for 1 minute say that has any influence over how the media relations are, obviously, but it's something to keep in mind.
And we know firsthand. On that is Kari. Aside from obviously asking him those questions in the conversation that we have, where we've seen these explosive interviews that we have, and Tata Martino just kind of seems like a chill guy that just kind of goes along.
I think so, but Mexican media is different. I mean, we've seen how much they press on Osorio and how. And I applauded him because every single question that everybody asked, but probably the same question 10 different ways, he would answer it like nothing. He wouldn't get mad. He would just be straight to the point. So I don't know how he'll play with the media. I really don't. I mean, obviously he's a very different character, but I don't know. I guess we'll just see with the time how he is under pressure. I mean, again, being a Mexican national team coach is probably the biggest job in the whole world. I mean, it's
I'm sure he's big one, guy. Come on, I'm sure he's big one.
There's so much pressure. It's so much pressure. Why? Because the worst critic is the Mexican. Because we're always wanting more. We're always changing our minds. We're always criticizing, even though we probably criticize today and forget tomorrow because we win. Like it is what it is. So we'll see.
I'm gonna flag you down on that one. Because he was in Barcelona and in Argentina during the Copa America with Messi winning in the final. They have to do it and gets lost against Chile. So I'll give you that. There's a lot of pressure.
But I mean, I think it's the expectation. It's like what Carrie said there. It's like they expect you to win. And even if you win and you build up all this kind of goodwill, you lose one game and then it all comes crashing down. We saw it with Osorio. I mean, it couldn't have been more pronounced with Osorio because I think he won his first 10 games or something, and then. Then they hit that cup. Everyone was talking about, oh, this guy's a genius. This guy's transforming the Mexican national team.
Boom.
Then all of a sudden the Chile game came and it was like, oh no, it's all going wrong. But I tell you what, the only thing I do believe is that Martino has got kind of some points already in the bag just because of who he is. And Osorio never had that. As soon as Osorio walked through the door, it was like, who the hell is this guy? And there was a feeling amongst the journalists, this Colombian guy, because there is a bit of, xenophobia. I think a lot of, Hugo Sanchez is the biggest example. He wants a Mexican to do it. So a Colombian guy comes in and they didn't feel like he deserved it. It was a question of deserving it. And I think Tata Martino does have that. He's got more points in the bag. Because he's been in these big jobs, he's been in Argentina, he's been in Barcelona, he succeeded with Paraguay. So I do think there is, I think they're going to be a bit more lenient earlier on with Martino. Although obviously the potential for it all to blow up is obviously there.
I don't know if I agree with the fact that it was maybe xenophobic and the fact that it was just because of Colombian, because I always felt like it was the resume that, I mean, I was in one that said, what has he done? And
for sure,
I'll add even that maybe because it was an MLS and, you're given that. And then all of a sudden, here comes now Tata Martino, who's, an MLS. And then there's this sort of hatred that you kind of, oh, what has MLS done? And obviously the whole rivalry and whatever. That. But to an extent, I think a lot of people do.
No, I think xenophobic's a bit too strong, to be honest. But you know what I mean. There is that sentiment. It's like, I don't know. I think a Mexican coach would have been at least given a little bit more leeway, even with a poor resume. Whereas Osorio was like the worst. His resume wasn't that great, and he was a Colombian. And I say Colombian because it's not like an Argentine or a Spaniard. You know what I mean?
True.
I think in people's minds, an Argentine comes and, La Volpe, Menotti. A Spaniard comes and it's like, they play really good football, blah, 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 the Europeans, blah, blah. And I don't know, I just think the mentality is Colombian is kind of like, Colombia is below Mexico. Done? You know what I mean? Yeah. I think the mentality of people here is that Colombia is below Mexico in terms of what it's achieved in the world game. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I think that was the perception.
Yeah. Well, and I think in the time that came in, it was kind of like, I almost thought of more of a fashion where Colombian managers were being, all over the world. Beckerman, I'm thinking of that, even Bolillo Gomez, and so it was kind of like, is that something that's been happening for a while? So no, I definitely get it, where we automatically think Argentine, coaches or Brazilian coaches, Spanish, in even European coaches, right? When Sven-Göran Eriksson came in, it was like, this is what we need. So we come from that. So it'll be interesting to see. The press conference will be at 11 o'clock Pacific time there. So I'm sure one of either Cesar, Tom, Amy, Kari, myself, and everybody else, Adriana will be talking all about it. Normally they try to stream it. FMF sends a link either on their Facebook or something, but we'll try to share it and we'll do that. All right. Bobby, really quick, Bobby Peru on the top chat that said Tata just needs to not lose 7-0. And I guess that's all you have to do to stay positive.
It's a fair point.
We'll jump in and we'll continue kind of rivalry. Well, really quick on the let's go into now, which could be more on that rivalry talk, MLS, and also Liga MX is now forming some type of little tournament. We already have the Conca Champions, but now there's going to be another tournament that's scheduled to be in later on this year. Tom, tell us about this concoction of a soccer tournament that these two leagues are trying to come in and give us the positives and negatives, because I'm really trying to see why we need this type of tournament other than it should be fun and, exciting to, measure up to both leagues. But another tournament...
Yeah, I mean, I heard last week that there's an agreement now that in the second half of the year, this 8-team tournament, 4 teams from MLS, 4 teams from Liga MX, is basically going to happen. I think it's going to start in July. I didn't put that in the article, but that's when I think it is going to start. I think we're going to see a few of the West Coast MLS teams.
West Coast, so the LA teams, right? You would think.
You'd think so, yeah. I mean, all right. So basically, it's like the Superliga, no? I mean, I think there's a feeling within MLS and Liga MX in circles that, that tournament was kind of ahead of its time. That now if it in today, it would do a lot better because I don't know, the leagues have developed more. There's more kind of shared, shared knowledge, like what fans in one know the other and fans in the other know the other. I don't know what I'm talking about here.
We know each other's leagues.
but yeah, we know each other's leagues a bit better. So I think that's the feeling, and I think just things have lined up where the Mexican teams are out of the Copa Libertadores since 2017, and so
isn't there like they're trying to come back? Like there's now that Libertadores in the next 2 years are going to be a thing.
Yeah, I mean it's possible. Yeah, I mean I think there's a lot going on, to be honest, because I think the Copa America 2020 is going to be back on as well.
Yeah,
in terms of the whole continent. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, yeah, that's a little bit different though. So yeah, so as it stands, you've basically got no Libertadores. You've got the CONCACAF Champions League with MLS and Liga MX clubs starting in end of February. So you've got kind of all this second half of the year where you only got your domestic clubs, your domestic cup competitions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the feeling is that obviously why not get something going? I mean I think the positive is that. Well, I don't know. You might as well have something. If you can't get back in the Libertadores, you might as well get something. But I tell you what, depending on how they structure it and all that, I think if you put the LA teams in there, you got Vela, LAFC, Giovanni, Zlatan, Galaxy. You get San Jose Earthquakes with Almeida, and then another team, and then you kind of put Club America or Chivas, and Cholos in there, and kind of Santos. I don't know, but you know what I mean. If you get a kind of Chivas LAFC, Chivas Galaxy, America Earthquakes, you know what I mean. Chivas, I don't know. All of a sudden, I think you can kind of see how you'd watch it. You know what I mean. And I think that's the idea, that you kind of you put something out there that is at least watchable.
Cuddy, you were kind of just shaking your head when we were kind of coming up on this in this topic, because what it seems to me is more, let's get the popular teams that are somehow tied into Mexico and US. I mean, I'm hearing obviously the LA teams with the San Jose Earthquakes, and then Xolos, and then the two most popular teams. It just feels like it's all, let's try to get as much rivalry in as possible. I don't see León making this ever, unless it's some kind of is it some kind of like if it's maybe the top four, but who isn't going to the
should have kept Donovan.
The Copa, or,
you bring him back.
You
kept signing back from the San Diego Suckers, wherever he ended up.
So to you keep shaking your head. Tell me, what are your thoughts?
With all respect, I don't see the point of this tournament. We've already had the CONCACAF Champions League, which to me, it's not a great tournament. It's just, all in all, this other tourney is just monetary reasons. Why? Because I think Liga MX has the attitude that, oh, MLS is better. We need to figure out some way to measure up to them. Wow, it's backwards. I think Liga MX has the upper hand, and they're being taken advantage of by MLS, saying, you know what, MLS teams up with Liga MX, and obviously they know that Mexico has the biggest fan base. And like we said, there's going to be the biggest teams like America, Chivas, probably Tigres, and throw in a Cruz Azul. It's going to be the favorites. And obviously they're going to, pick their teams, like the LA teams and stuff like that. It's all a scam. It's all monetary reasons. There's no reason why. Obviously, yeah, we don't have the other tourneys that we've dropped out of, sadly, which we all want to get back into. But, these tournaments right here, I don't see the point to them. I think it's just money. It's just money. That's it.
Yeah. And I think we might have lost. Scotty, still there?
So, what do you think?
I think we might have lost Scotty. Hopefully she can come back. It just kind of goes back to the rivalries. I think it's establishing a rivalry that's there again. I'm getting excited a little more, seeing a team like Atlanta, or seeing an LAFC now play against those Liga MX clubs, So I think the CONCACAF champions, although we've always kind of not like the fact that the best teams are there, here might be a tournament where we can just take the best teams that we, that it has, instead of just whoever wins this season can go into it, because we've always seen that whoever wins the CONCACAF champions is not necessarily the best team for Mexico, and I feel like I think it's like that for the MLS too.
Yeah, I do think though that with the format this time is you do get the better team. You're more likely to, because you're not playing the group stage. So, like this time we got Atlanta in there.
Yeah.
Tigres, Monterrey are in there. I think it's Toulouse, the other one, Cruz Azul.
Yeah.
No, or is it in them the next year? But in it, I can't remember. Santos Laguna. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not Santos. Santos.
But yeah, going back, I think Carrie's got a point. Obviously he's got a point there. I think the issue is, how do you legitimize this tournament? You know what I mean? I mean, I can see why they want to do it perfectly well. You know, I think, you know, and you know this, we saw. I think the Liga MX has no clue about the US market. I think not no clue, but they're very naive.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to reach those millions of fans who are kind of watching these games every weekend. We all talk about the numbers of the TV viewers. I don't think Liga MX and a lot of the teams know how to reach those fans. So I think they see kind of MLS and kind of you know, even Univision, because Univision have got 16 of the 18 teams. I just don't. I think they see that as the way of reaching that kind of target, you know, mainly Mexican American market. And I think from MLS's point of view, what Carrie said there, it's like, you know, it creates more interest around the teams, and they know that these people are watching Mexican teams, and they think that if we bring these Mexican teams, if you bring a Club America to LA, then it grows it even more, kind of their clubs, you know what I mean? But I think the problem is legitimizing the tournament and saying this is, you know, that's the obstacle you got to get around. How do you legitimize it? And I think their answer would be just give it time.
And then, well, the interest of it, right? I mean, so let's say they get the 4 clubs. Is it going to be like those, you know, those tournaments in the US that, you know, they got Real Madrid and Manchester United with, you know, Tigres, and then the Italian club, and they all call whatever classic, and they do that. Like, if it's just going to be one of those type of teams, and at the same time, how serious are the Mexican clubs going to take them?
Yeah, I mean, and the MLS club, because MLS clubs are actually, they're going to be nearer their kind of postseason. So, you know, it's going to be, you know, they're going to want to be traveling around maybe and taking on Mexican clubs.
Yeah,
for a tournament that, you know, it's not even the CONCACAF Champions League. It's not a Libertadores, but
what do they win? What's part of it? Do they give them something? Does the winner go about? I mean, they already have that. What's that one where it's like the winner of the Liga MX and the winner of MLS?
Super Campeón.
Yeah. You know, it's like,
because they got Campeones Cup, they've got Super Campeón, they've got Copa de. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's already that one. It's like, okay, we're getting that. Gotti, you're back, right? Something going on. It's just that Guanajuato. That the Momaya's Wi-Fi isn't.
El internet no vale nada.
No vale nada el internet. Hopefully, you see what we No, we might. You know what, Gotti? We might have to try to turn off your video and just keep sound, because I think we might have some problems with the. Turn off your video and keep the sound on. We'll come back to you. So we'll see.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's a tough one though. I mean, it is a tough one. I mean, how do you legitimize the tournament? It's difficult. The only thing I would say, I think that the MLS clubs, a lot of them, I do think MLS has improved a lot over the last few years. I mean, it's just it's a logical thing, because I know people out there are like, no, everybody talks about MLS catching Liga MX and it's never happened, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but there are legitimate reasons why MLS has improved, and it's predominantly down to they've now got more money kind of to spread out amongst the squad for better players. There's more depth, and it's not just those 3 DPs and then a load of players who don't get paid anything now. Now it's kind of they've got there's more quality there, and we saw that in the CONCACAF Champions League last year with Toronto doing what they did and getting past Tigres and getting past America in 2 legit games.
But then Chivas wins it.
And then Chivas win it, yeah.
Chivas wins it.
Yeah.
No, and I think this whole, I hear it all over Twitter, and believe me, I was one of those. It's like, no, the MLS is not. Or you kind of keep hearing that the MLS is inching to get to Liga MX. You can't deny that it's true. I mean, a team like Atlanta, I'm excited to see a team like Atlanta go. And, looking at the possible Monterrey versus Atlanta, I think on the top of the table would be interesting to see. So, and I think it is, if there's any time better to have an MLS win, I think it'd be better. It'd be good for the rivalry. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I'll go back to my Mexico Liga MX. Hopefully, you continue that streak of 2006 Liga MX clubs.
Yeah.
dominated. But
I tell you what, yeah. I mean, I tell you what I'd like to see is, this some kind of tournament like this, but your prize or the prize for two of the teams or three or four of the teams is you get to the Libertadores. It doesn't matter if you're MLS, it doesn't matter if you're Liga MX, but you go play in the Libertadores. And I don't know how it'd work because of the logistics of flying, playing in South America.
Vancouver
But
to La Plata,
yeah, I mean,
quite the flight.
it's difficult, but I was chatting to Almeida the other day actually, and he said it. He said, the Americas should have one competition between all the teams in the Americas to give a real champion.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how it will work, but I mean, it goes back to what we were saying before about the positives and the strengths of each league. If you look at it in kind of a confederation level, it's like CONMEBOL right now struggles for money. It's kind of, the amount of Argentine players that are getting sold this transfer window is unbelievable because the Argentine peso is so weak. And basically clubs, Mexican clubs, MLS clubs, European clubs, they're just plucking them. All the good, talented, younger players, they're just picking them out. And I think that, what CONCACAF adds, and specifically the United States and Mexico, is, they've got some money behind them. You know what I mean? And I think that, coming together and coming, I don't know how you do it, but, obviously, I don't know. I'd love it, me. I'd absolutely love it if they could combine it somehow.
No, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be awesome. I think it just kind of runs into more of the logistic stuff, right? I mean, you have exciting Champions League because they're all right next to each other, but then you have, the giant of what you have. It looks like Kari has joined us back now using her cell phone. Right, Kari?
Hi, guys. I'm back. Yes, I'm back.
Yes. So there you go. All right. Your last words on this on this topic, Kari. It's going to happen.
I get the feeling Kari absolutely loves it and she can't wait for it to start.
You'll see me at all those games. I'm just kidding. No. I think, all in all, it's just money for me, but we'll see how it works out. Like I think we've said, Liga MX is going to be, in their season, MLS too. Like, are they going to take a B team, A team? How much importance is this going to be? I think it's just another Molero tourney, but that'll be my end of it. I'm sorry, I'm not positive on this.
All right. Let's switch it over to Mexicans abroad. Big story coming out of this week. Mr. Miguel Ayun, as you guys discussed on Monday, there were some rumors of him coming back. Ayun now as a Rayado. Looking at the presentation, I don't know why, but you know how when like players go back to Mexico or they go to another club and it just something's off, like when players transfer, Elias Hernandez going to Cruz Azul, and you see him in another different, in a different outfit and a different kit, and he just kind of looks odd. I don't know why, but when I felt like Layun looked good, like as a Rayado. I don't know if I'm not an America fan, I'm not a Rayado fan, but it just like, yeah, it makes sense. Like it's coming back. A lot of people are saying it was kind of like I wouldn't say a failure, but just like, you couldn't find a club and now you picked Rayado. I know America fans are not liking this one bit. But to you, Kari, obviously now it's official. He got presented. He's happy. He's there. If it's family reasons for whatever. But now you have, potentially one of the best players in Mexico, especially in the defense, what he did at the World Cup. And after that, where he went to Europe and many people, especially in La Liga, especially myself, just kind of going, okay, this is good. This is a great step for him. Now we see him, not getting that limited time in that team. And now he's back in Monterrey, which we should see him, get regular minutes and be back there. How do you feel about it all?
I think it's a different situation than Salcedo, and I think I've said this on Twitter just because of his age. He's 31 years old. He's played in important teams in Europe. He's played Champions League. He's played Europa League. He's had those tournaments, those competitions, which could be the best competition, especially Champions League. And I think he's at an age where his decision is probably personal and thinking of long term, of future, saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm 31. I can come back to Mexico and retire, in the next couple of years." But I mean, all in all, the Liga MX teams that could afford him could either be America or Monterrey or Tigres. So I think he chose well. I think, like you said, I saw him in the jersey. I'm like, oh, he looks really good. But I like it. I think it's a different situation than Salcedo, just for the simple age of age, pretty much. Salcedo is 25. I think coming back to Liga MX is not a step back in all, just because, yeah, I mean, he's played in Europe, has a couple minutes, but I think maybe it's a good time right now where it's kind of like a gap year for him. So he can come back, Liga MX, maybe get back to that starting role, show out next year or two, then bounce back to Europe, maybe in a better team where he actually has competition like Europa League or Champions League, competition where they really matter. So I like the whole Layun move. So that's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact he didn't go to America, I think, is worth talking about a little bit as well, because obviously America fans are not happy. I think they expected him to come back. I mean, he wasn't brought up through the America youth system, so I don't know exactly. Obviously there's a link there, but it's not like a kid who comes through the youth system.
Yeah.
I mean, he's from
In fact, American fans hated him, so
yeah, I mean, they hated him. No wonder he didn't go back. but yeah, no. But I think it shows something that's not new. But Rayados and Tigres, the financial power that these two clubs have got right now. Mm-hmm. I was looking at the kind of the value of the squads, and I think all but 4 other teams, if you kind of total up the value of the squad, only 4 teams are kind of within half. So wait, how many teams are there now? So 12 of the 18 teams, the squads aren't even worth half of what the Tigres and Rayados squad. And we talk sometimes about parity in Liga MX, and it is more even than Premier League, Bundesliga in terms of those top teams. But we're starting to see Rayados and Tigres now. I mean, I think I said it last week, but it's like money don't really matter to them. It doesn't seem like they're kind of factoring in financial concerns. They're just, okay, a player's open, a player needs to, wants to move. Okay, we're in there. How much do you want? Because I'm pretty sure America would have liked to have Miguel Layun. I mean, I think they had different priorities, obviously, with Nico Castillo and Benedetti, but I'm pretty sure a player like Layun comes up. I mean, I think he would have suited America really, especially playing as a fullback. I think he would have slotted right in there. So I don't know. I think with Salcedo as well, it just shows. I mean, if you look at Rayados, the players they've signed over the last year. Like seriously, if you look at it, Jesus Gallardo, Rodolfo Pizarro, Maximiliano Mesa, and now Layun, and you're like, that's pretty Baravero as well. I mean, that is serious purchasing power there, and Tigre is the same. So yeah, I think that's it's worth pointing out that he didn't go back to America, and Salcedo didn't go back to Chivas, and I'm pretty sure that's because of the financial side of things.
I want to point out something too with the whole Salcedo. If you're Tigres, working for Tigres, and you're saying, okay, who else can we get? Obviously, you're going to look at the best you have, and if that means having, then why not? And also an influence of Salcedo saying, it's personal reasons as well, but I wouldn't blame Tigres either. So for the people that are like, oh my God, Tigres and all this, I mean, they have the power, and if you're working for Tigres and you have a player that's out, who's the next best that you can come and get him? Salcedo. So just another input.
Yeah, I mean, Tigres don't have a responsibility to the national team. I mean, obviously there's an ongoing debate about, whether they should or not, and it's a difficult one because obviously the aims, the goals don't coincide, and nothing. It can't be any more stark than with Ferretti. I mean, Ferretti contradicted himself so much as Mexico manager. Yeah. Talking about young Mexican players getting the opportunity, they need to be played more. We got to call them in because they need an opportunity. And then it's like, a couple of seasons ago they won the under-20s, and it's like they just don't play him. I mean, Jair Diaz, I think, played a few games, but it's like, I don't know. I mean, I always think if every team was like Tigres, where the national team be at? obviously the counter to that is where would the league be at? I mean, the league would be right up there as like, well inside the top 10 of the world, comfortably. But the national team would, I don't know, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one to kind of to bridge,
Now there's kind of discussions of players coming back and forth, of what's a failure and what's not. And I think what's forgotten is the fact that many players go out and try to do it instead of staying in Liga MX. Regardless if it's a failure or not, you got to give you got to at least accept the fact that these guys went out and try to do it regardless if it's not. But I don't see I don't see it as a failure as much as people are saying it.
It's kind of I just think that other nations, Latin American nations, pump out more transfers to Europe. Yeah, so there's always a percentage of ones that that succeed and ones that fail. I mean, look at Nico Castillo.
Yeah.
I mean, what did he do at Benfica? I mean, I was critical of Raul Jimenez. I couldn't understand what obviously they had that older Brazilian, but I couldn't understand why he wasn't getting more minutes and he didn't do it at Atletico Madrid. And then I was like, what's he doing? What's he doing wrong here? You know what I mean? That we're not seeing. Why is the manager not kind of picking Raul Jimenez? And now it's happened with Nico Castillo. And to be honest, Nico Castillo in Pumas, I put my house on him doing well in Europe. You know what I mean? He just seemed like an absolute certainty to go to the Portuguese league and do well.
Especially
I do think that it is a percentage thing as well. I just don't, because there's fewer Mexicans, the perception is that they don't do as well. Whereas I think the Mexican player these days, with the preparation that they go through at the youth teams, is more prepared than ever to succeed over there. But they got to get chances in the Liga MX as well, or in any first division.
I figure out Gulli Peña is still in.
You know what? I have a fun fact. Gulli Peña is actually supposed to report back to Rangers, but the coach just said Gulli Peña does not fit in his plan. So he will be playing in second division in Poland.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. I'm like, I think I got a message.
It's like CK. But second division in Poland is where he will be playing.
Guys,
that obviously Gulli Peña, what happened to him, he has to take responsibility for it. But that's where you look at the European club as well, and you think, why have you not done your background checks? Because you know what I mean. What are you thinking? I mean, why you not just had a look at the media surrounding that player before deciding to pay him so much money? I mean, I guess Caixinha was there, and Caixinha was like, yeah, I want him to come on. But taking a player like Gullit and then moving him to like Glasgow, I mean, it was always going to be, I don't know, it was going to be tough for him anyways. But then obviously he's got off the field issues, and it's pretty sad really, because back in 2014 he was, I don't know, I really liked him. I thought he was a different kind of player than in the Mexican national team pool generally has.
Without Chapito Montes, Gulli Peña has never been.
Exactly.
To that.
Goes back to 2014.
Imagine the nights out. Can you imagine the nights out of those guys had when they were like winning the.
There's just Chapito Montes, I feel like that guy.
Chapito Gullit.
Chapito and Gullit.
It was the other guy, Nacho.
Gallito Vasquez.
Nacho, Gallito, Nacho Gonzalez.
Nacho Gonzalez. Rafa. He's going to go to GKS Taikai. It's a Polish professional club based in Taikai, Poland that plays in the Polish 1 League. The club was founded in 1971. All right. I'm looking at this.
I'm going to say it's February. I don't know what the weather is exactly like in Poland, but I'm guessing it's not that nice. He's in the second division. I don't know, man. Honestly, I was going to make a joke then, but it's not that funny because the guy's got problems. You know what I mean? He's got problems, and to go to such a foreign country where you don't understand anybody, you don't understand anything, and to kind of be in the second, I don't know,
guys.
I mean, it's probably not the best place to go, is it?
It is like about 50 miles away from my dad lives in Poland. I'm gonna
maybe run into him.
I'm gonna ask him to go to one of those games. I'm on it. Speaking of which, my dad sometimes watches the show. Dad, if you're listening, rarely. He's really taken the Pablo Larios,
Consigo Peña.
the Pablo Larios
Yeah.
uh, fallecimiento kind of bad. So, Dad, if you're listening, it's all right, man. He wanted to be a keeper. He'd always like, well, you got to be like this guy. And I'm like, Ochoa, no, Pablo Larios. So, anyways, if you're listening, ahí, papá, si estás en Polonia, go see Guli Peña. I feel like I'm looking at the map. I feel like it's like 50 miles away there. All right. Yes. Fun fact: my dad lives in Poland. Okay. Mexicans abroad now. Continuing. All right. What's the bigger news? Diego Reyes finding another club that I feel like he's going to fail at. I know I'm horrible with Diego
See,
Reyes.
that's the player that should be returning to Mexico. That's the player.
And then
He doesn't need to be over there.
But you know what? Okay, Leganes. Okay, and he got some minutes. This is just or Diego Lainez getting a start, getting a yellow card, and Mr. Guardado coming to the rescue. What's the biggest storyline there? Are they both kind of like, okay, we've been talking about it.
No, Lainez is good. I mean, the fact he started again. I mean, he was left out of the squad at the weekend, but I mean, it shows that Setien really likes him. I mean, it's massively positive.
Yeah.
It's been a really pleasant surprise.
The
but
fans,
then,
everyone's on it. It's Diego fever over there.
Yeah, and with Reyes, I think, it's really make or break, I think. I mean, if he's going to make it in Europe, he has to have a good 6 months, 4 months, whatever's left of the year. He's done it before in Spain. No reason he can't do it, but I mean, Leganés, where do you go from there? I mean, you go to the Spanish second division. I mean, he didn't get playing time at Porto. I mean, I don't know. You don't get playing time in Turkey. It's like one of those. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously the example of Raúl Jiménez makes you kind of, it shows it's not necessarily because you're a bad player. You know what I mean? But I don't know. He's been to a few clubs now and just been left on the bench, and it's just like, I don't know. For me, it has to work for Diego Reyes this loan spell, and then after that, hopefully he can move on to a better Spanish club. But if not, then I agree. It'll be time to come back. I mean, what a disappointment, because Diego Reyes, when he was 18, 19, playing for America, I mean, he looked like he was going to be something pretty special.
I feel like he always just needed to bulk up, man. Pancho Pantera, get there, and it just he never like.
He never grew to his. I mean, he has the height and everything, but I don't trust when Diego Reyes plays on the back line of Mexico. I don't trust him with the ball. I get so anxious. I'm like,
I did when he was younger. I did when he was playing kids. I did when he was playing like 22 and under, like those. You got what he was coming up, but I feel like that kid never bulked up.
No, he never did. But
really quick to kind of change it, Chicharito finishes. He starts against Liverpool, but at the same time, are we seeing his last? Like, is this another player that might be coming back? I don't think he'll make it to Liga MX, but I mean, people are still just linking him to ridiculous clubs. And
he was linked with Sevilla, wasn't he?
Yeah, and other ones. So I guess
Valencia.
Yeah, Valencia.
Valencia, yes.
Well, this is another player that all of a sudden someone gets injured and he's being given the minutes and he's continuing to play. I want to see what Tata Martino does with a player like Chicharito. That's kind of in what he's done. So interesting to see there.
No, it's gonna be interesting, the whole Raúl Jiménez Chicharito thing. I think people are kind of, I don't know. People obviously, Raúl's definitely the number one now. Look what he's doing. I think a lot of it depends on how you're going to play. To be honest, it depends your opposition. Depends how Tata Martino's going to kind of want to play. So we'll see. But I don't think Chicharito, especially for the Gold Cup. I mean, obviously, if you project like 4 years time, then I don't think Chicharito's going to be starting. But I think at the Gold Cup, it's going to be interesting battle. I mean, you expect Tata to play a 4-3-3, which only gives you obviously one number 9 role. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. But I think Chicharito will end up in MLS pretty soon. I don't think it's too long off. I think they're gonna.
I feel like he's always kind of been I don't like. He hasn't given up. Like I'm not going to give up to go. And I'm not saying anything with MLS. Obviously, the players and the history of the league, people retiring and all that. I'm not bringing that up. But for some reason, I've seen a player like I can see Fabian go in MLS, or I've seen other players that are kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll take that for the money. But for some reason, I don't think Chicharito's there like financially in the same way that Giovanni and Bella did it. Like I feel like this guy's always been like. I mean, he's. So if I feel like he might go to Mexico before he goes to MLS, just as a
I don't think so. No? I mean, his like girlfriend or whatever from Australia. I think she's like a model, or I think she does like travel stuff, and so she's from Australia. She does travel stuff. I don't think she speaks Spanish. She's pregnant.
Chicharitito.
Maybe that should be the question next week. If it's a male, what's the nickname?
It's got to be a female. It'd be perfect. Chicharita plays.
Chicharita lead the Mexican national team to the
Mexican national team. Chicharita, I think
2040.
Technically, I think it was Chicharo, and then his dad was also Chicharito. But he was never.
His dad was Chicharo because of his eyes.
No, his grandpa.
His eyes like these. No, his grandpa wasn't. It was his
I thought his grandpa was a Chicharo, and then his dad wasn't that good, so they skipped the name. Like, no, you're not grandson, and then it went to him. Because I thought his grandpa also played for the national team. No.
Yeah, he played for him, but his dad isn't. His dad and his granddad played for the national team, but his dad isn't his I don't know what I'm saying here. His granddad is his mother's side.
Okay. All right, cool. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So it's 4 generations of peas playing.
Chicharos.
Playing
so you can't put the joke 3 peas in a pod anymore, right? If we have a new chicharo.
Hopefully it's a chichita.
Hopefully.
That'd be really cool.
But I think I'm with Lisa. I think he might come back to Mexico instead of MLS. I think honestly, I think his worst mistake was leaving Bayer Leverkusen. Why? Because he was a starter there. He had a great seasons, and what the thing next forward to was Champions League, and he gave that up. And I think even though we all saw, oh my God, he's coming back to EPL, it's gonna be great. We all remember the Man U era, and now I feel like he's kind of stuck. So I really wish he could have just stayed with Bayer Leverkusen and played Champions League. And I don't know. Maybe we'll see him back in Mexico with Chivas and retire there. Jimenez, obviously now he's thriving. Everybody is in awe with him. I mean, the fan base is in love with him. 9 goals and 6 assists so far in EPL, and it's barely February. Just imagine the potential by the end of the season, what he'll end up with. So huge applause for him, and we'll definitely see who will be, starting.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. But I think Chicharito left Germany. His contract was up, and he signed for big money. I mean, the wages he'll be getting at West Ham are massive, which is why he's. I don't know if he's content to be on the bench, but I mean, when you're getting loads of money, it probably softens the blow. But yeah, no, I think it's MLS. Me, I don't think he gets on. I don't think his family gets on with Vergara, to be honest, at Chivas, and I don't think he'd want to play for another Mexican club because his granddad played there. He's actually a street in Guadalajara named after his granddad. So I don't know. I just see him MLS, and I think he'll play one last season at Chivas. I just can't see him being. He's been here for 10 years now. I just can't see him being comfortable moving back to Mexico and having to deal with all the. I don't know. Him that he would be for him to be living here. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I go to the chat, just check out whatever is happening, and I can't stop laughing at Joel. Joel Bott has been following us for a very long time. He's a good friend of the show, and he just puts, I'm with Tommy on his chicharron take, and I just kind of realized, I'm like, what if it's not Chicharro? What if they name him Chicharron? Like, he's like this massive guy. Sorry, Chicharito, and then perfect. Why wouldn't it be Chicharron? Anyway, sorry, guys. Sorry, I apologize for going back over there. But Joel's got me laughing on this really quick. And see, Tommy's right. His dad had the green eyes. That's where the Chicharro came from. All right. All right. So, lastly, on the Mexicans abroad, well, we talked. Obviously, Jimenez at Wolves still scoring, doing an amazing job. Thank you, Gotti, for bringing that up. I can't find one of his jerseys. I really want to buy it, and it's just super super expensive. I can't even find like a bad knockoff one. So if you find
So let me
anybody,
know. Let me
oh,
know.
that's
I have
right.
a
You're
flick.
you're down there. Awesome. Let me. Yeah, I would. Next time we see each other.
Okay.
The game in Dallas, you can give it to me now. So whenever
All
you're
right.
there.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
All right, guys, let's jump in. It's already, we only got 8 to 10 minutes now with Liga MX. Now, Jornada 5 review. I guess we just happened, Chivas cannot take the liderato. It's like up and down with any of the Liga MX team. Cruz Azul is just kind of, we'll be fine towards the end. Kari and I are excited that Leon isn't doing bad, but they're not doing amazing.
We're thriving.
So we're surviving in there in the top 8. Xolos and Leon getting a win on the same weekend. When's the last time that's happened? Monterrey keeps his leadership, leaves liderato. But let me first ask, I think a lot of drama was happening in the transfer window with a person that we already mentioned, Mr. Nico Castillo, coming back. Some people say that could be a failure, but we're not Chilean, so it doesn't really matter. Tom, to you, toward the last minutes, the waiver wire, and when we're looking at that, and anybody you think of was probably the best transfer of this time, and you're looking at it.
Maybe Meza in
Yeah.
Monterrey. I mean, I think that's a massive signing. I mean, current Argentine international, played at
Yeah.
the World Cup. I mean, that's big, and especially for an attacking player. Nico Castillo, I think is a great signing as well. But there's some others that kind of, I don't know, maybe didn't make the headlines. But I think Jesus Molina at Chivas was a much needed signing, having that kind of experience, brain and holding midfield for Chivas, I think is important. So yeah, those ones. I don't know, you guys.
Kari?
I think I'm gonna go with my Leon, the Joel Campbell, because I didn't expect it. Just because obviously Sambuesa, I'm glad, I'm honored to have seen Sambuesa play live with Leon, because it was the best thing ever. If you ever get a chance to go to the game to see Sambuesa when he comes back from injury, do it. He's unbelievable on the field. He's amazing to watch. But I think Joe Campbell was a surprise just because La Piedad knew that they needed 2 players. They were looking for 2 players, and this one came in last minute. The way they announced it was pretty funny at a concert. Leon's always doing their outrageous what's called announcements. But I think Benedetti is an exciting, just because he's a youngster from America. I'm interested to see how he'll have a role with America. Nico Castillo, I'm not in favor of it, just because I think, he did have a great season when he was in Liga MX with Pumas. But if we look at it, it was Nico Castillo plus 10 at Pumas. Nico Castillo carried the whole team on his back. Exporting to Benfica, he played, 13 games, 0 goals, and he was demanding a lot to come back to America. And I think America kind of got screwed over the deal and just really, really wanting him. It's like sometimes I feel like America's like, if they see a new toy, they really want it, and they'll do whatever it takes. And I don't think they got the better profit. I mean, the better offer of it. So I don't know. I think it's going to be different. It's going to be a lot of pressure on Nico Castillo. Why? Because it's America. He's not going to be the star. There's obviously all these other quality players. Obviously, some are injured, but America is known for being the best, for having all these quality players. So I think Nico is just another little star from the 10 stars already. So.
You're America fan, Kari.
No.
Big America fan then.
Really quick, in other news, the refs find a way to always get in the conversation when it comes to Liga MX. And 1, 2, 3, 5 red cards over the weekend. When we're looking at spoiling games, I mean, for once, it benefit Leon. I'm always on the losing end with these red cards. But that probably okay. I don't think Cruz Azul should have won that game.
No, they played terribly.
And at the same time, I don't think Leon should have. I think it was a bad red card. But I didn't see Cruz Azul do anything after that or even before, even though it was kind of early. But to you, 5 red cards, Tom. We were talking about decisive games last week that everyone was complaining about the refs. And then now we're looking at it, these red cards into that. So, again, once again, another conversation about the refs.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like they're not using VAR to benefit kind of the game
effectively.
I mean, at the same time, I feel like the press in Mexico, I don't know, they don't kind of have. I mean, Liverpool, West Ham today. I mean, Liverpool's goal was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it was completely offside. There was no doubt about it. It wasn't even close, but it still gets given, and there's no VAR, so they can't bring it back. So it's not like just happens in Mexico, but I mean, some of the red cards, it was like, I don't know, like the Pumas one, and then you obviously had the Cruz Azul one. It's just like I didn't feel like you had to give a red card for either of them, and obviously then the whole game changes. They're early in the game.
Yeah.
I think the new rule about the double jeopardy rule as well, on which one was it with the penalty? Or either no, the Cruz Azul one. No, I mean
The Cruz Azul one, yeah, because
yeah, I
it's the
mean
last man.
it's supposed to be a red card or a penalty or
Yeah, yellow card would suffice.
and it's I don't know. I don't know. It does seem like the refs are now extra nervous about VAR, but sometimes they're not even using the VAR. It's like if you've got a doubt, just bring it up. I mean, I don't know. It's not. They're not doing it as it should be. If you know what I mean, it should be there to help the ref, and it feels like it's actually a hindrance. It feels like they got too much to think about with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of a shame that's what kind of a lot of people in the media are talking about, you know what I mean, at the end of a weekend, rather than like how a team's playing or players and stuff. And it's always regularly just seems to be about the refereeing.
Tom, Atlas. Sorry to just jump in there. I mean, Atlas is the real. Sorry, Gotti, go ahead. You're gonna say
No. I think I agree. I think they're not. Obviously, introducing VAR into the MX, it's a tool for them to use and take advantage of it. And I don't think they're using it effectively. I think if we're thinking about last week's America Monterrey, I mean, honestly, I think the ref made that game. Just because if you think about it, neither team was playing really well. I think Monterrey was playing really well second half, but other than that, there was no excitement to it. So, I mean, not justifying, but probably the ref made that game. But yeah, I think VAR is misused, and I think they should. There's a lot of holes in it. I just think, like, how much are we going to let VAR impact? When we get to semifinals and finals again, and I don't want that to be just the topic of it.
Yeah, it's supposed to end the debates about big decisions. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And in the last couple of weeks, we've had, a Toluca goal. That was the talking point 2 weeks ago. And last week, it was like the ref just going absolutely crazy. Yeah. It's like pulling out red cards, giving penalties when there wasn't, and then not using VAR. And then on another, suddenly deciding that, no, we should use it. And I don't know. It's, it's pretty bizarre. But yeah.
Last talking point. Really quick, Atlas. We'll get to Atlas next week. Let's see where they're at. Even though they're at FOMO, you know what? Let's if they can stay there, if they get another win, we'll
talk about
Atlas. We'll talk about it really quick because we got to go, and I really want to get your opinion on this. Rafa Puente was all the talk last season. This guy's a genius, young. I mean, we're looking at maybe a federation future for them, and now we see what he has, Tom. What is happening to Mr. Rafa Puentes Jr.? I mean, to say that he would do better with Lobos?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because he's had key players sold. Iramier and Volpe. I mean, he's significantly weakening. Two of your best players, just selling them in the post and the preseason, but. Losing 2-0 to America in the Aztecas, they weren't outplayed. So I think the players were actually playing for him. But, I don't know. It's a tough one for him. He's not experienced either. It's the kind of, he perhaps needs to go to the second division. It's not just about the stuff on the field because he does try to play good football. He knows what he wants to do. But sometimes it's also, the man management, how to deal with a group, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And I'm not sure if that side of it he's doing well at, but it's I don't know. I feel like he's such a young Mexican manager as well. You know what I mean? That it's like he needs time. He needs time to develop. He needs time to make mistakes. Unfortunately, it doesn't look. Liga MX doesn't give you much time. So we'll see what Querétaro said because he said after losing to what was it? Who was it? Leon.
Leon 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, he said if we get beat like that next weekend, then I'll leave. So it looks like he's kind of hanging on. But I mean, I think Querétaro need to make a decision. Are you gonna, you're gonna stick with this guy, or are you gonna? Is now the time to move on? And if you move on, then where are you gonna go? What's your plan? You know what I mean? Where do you want to be in 6 months, in 5 years? I mean, they need to kind of strategize a little bit, and sometimes I don't know that kind of thing gets lost. Because I mean, Puente's playing younger players as well. I know that he dropped Marcel Ruiz last weekend, but he has been playing the younger players. So what does Querétaro want as a club, if you know what I mean? You're gonna accept? I mean, basically they're not going to be relegated. I mean, you're going to accept a bad season, give Puente, the next 2-3 months to work with the younger players and get ready for next season. A couple of big signings, or I don't know. It depends what they want, but I just think it'd be pretty short-termist to kind of get rid of him now.
All right, and then lastly to end, Liga MX, Cari, next week we have match day 6 of 17, Veracruz Tigres, Atlas Puebla, Monterrey Lobos Buap, Querétaro Pumas, Pachuca Monarca, Club América versus León, Necaxa versus Guadalajara, Toluca versus Cruz Azul, Santos versus Club Tijuana. Aside from the Club América León, because we're going to pick, I knew that was going to be your match that you wanted to see that. Although it's very entertaining to see what León does, because I think it's great. Any other match that kind of stands out? Because to me, there's nothing that I'm like, ooh, I want to watch that. Toluca Cruz Azul, just because of obviously seeing with Cristante and kind of seeing what that's going to go and where Cruz Azul can wake up. I kind of like Necaxa Guadalajara, but what do you say? If it's a match you got to, and you can say Club America León.
I mean, obviously America León, just because it's a really great rivalry, and I just can't stand America. But I think they're both at a great moment, so it will definitely be a good match. But I think Necaxa Chivas, just because Necaxa surprisingly have surprised me this season, just because they lost, even the season before they lost a lot of great players, and they did again. And I didn't expect them to do this well, especially after Leaño left and the last couple of games. There were some bizarre lineups with players that did not do well. So I'm very surprised they've been doing well. And Chivas started the season great. It's new streak on. It's bound. I think it'll be a very interesting game, as well as maybe if Querétaro loses, is this going to be it or not? And Pumas, obviously under Marioni, give him another match to see how he'll put his Pumas, to see if they'll make him a good contender or not. Yeah.
I mean, quickly on Necaxa. I mean, I don't want to burst the bubble, because they have done really well. They look really organized, and obviously they're full of confidence. But they played Pumas, Lobos Buap, Morelia, and Puebla. Coming up, they've got Chivas, Tigres, Tijuana, Cruz Azul, and America. So I think in the next 5 games is when we're going to be able to see, what this Necaxa team is really made of. Because I mean, they've done the job. They've got the points in the games that you'd expect them to, or they'd be open to. But now I think the next few weeks are massive for Necaxa.
I'm kind of looking at Toluca in what Cristante. That's gonna be 4 games without a win, and then now goes against Cruz Azul on Saturday.
Yeah, for sure.
And especially, I mean, if we can do it without Sambuesas, you should be able to too. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the thing about Toluca as well, they've got these new signings, and it's like
this is where I kind of look at.
Before the new signings, they were doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it feels like they come in, and now I don't know if the players that are already established kind of reacting against these South Americans coming in, or what the deal is. But it does seem like as soon as those big signings were mentioned, they've kind of they've been dropping. So Cristante will be under pressure. I mean, Luca is kind of month or so they are analysing. It's not like, oh yeah, you're here for 4 years, we'll give you that time. I mean, Toluca want a title. They just spent big money, like legitimately big money on new signings, and I think they want some silverware. I mean, Cardoso left, club legend. He couldn't get the championship. They were regular in the Liguilla, but they couldn't do it. Out the door. And I think Cristante. I think there's a certain amount of pressure on him now, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm looking at that game, Cruz Azul, because Cruz Azul loses another game. He just came back from a final. From the last season. Toluca now, 5 games. This is a Toluca that, with with what they had before, they're able to make it to finals, win them finals, and then look at what they have now as far as players. They're not doing anything. So I'm excited to see it. And then after that, it's Leon. So it's not easy. It's not easy for the I think they have the Champions League, right? I think they play what? Sporting KC?
Sporting
Yeah.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah,
So tough game. They don't get a break until March against Veracruz. So I think it's going to be a tough few weeks for Mr. Cristante. All right, guys. Another great Mexican soccer show. We officially rule the Monday Night Football because there's not going to be any football until later on because of what happened.
don't play very
and
often,
all
do
that.
they, them guys? Eh? They play like 3 months of the year. It's a good deal, isn't it, really?
It's a good deal. It's a good deal. Cesar had to take the night off. He was celebrating. I guess he's a big Patriots fan. I don't know. His sixth title. He was flashing it all over WhatsApp. No, I'm just kidding.
Had his Tom Brady shirt on.
He's Tom Brady. He's like greatest of all time.
Loves his political views.
Oh man,
That's just the rumors going around. You know what I mean?
No, just kidding. I know obviously Adriana had to work because decided to move the Chivas game over, so I know she couldn't watch, but she didn't miss much on the Chivas game. She should have just gotten on the here on the chat. Kari, although we weren't able to see your face for most of the show, thank you so much for joining us there in Guanajuato. If you are not following Kari, she's having a fun time there in Guanajuato, going to a lot of cool places. If you don't know, definitely Instagram worthy. I got to tell you, love all the pictures. So thanks so much, Kari. Appreciate you coming on the show. And Tom's laughing over here.
Stray goat. Sorry, I seen a stray goat tweet. Chivas trying to get to the top of the table. Just some guy getting on top of a table. It just collapses.
Yeah,
simple guy, simple things like that to make me laugh.
Always troll.
Kari, you get to finish and close off here on the Mexican Soccer Show.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for having me. It's an honor, as always. If you guys ever need me, I will be here. So, an episode of Monday Night Football with the Mexican Soccer Show. Thank you.
Awesome.